There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. Oh, wrong one. My bad. Stop. We're going to get here. This is kind of the beauty of running your own business is that, you know what? You do what you can do. There it is. Okay, I hope you guys can all see this. And if you have questions, just a little bit of, if you're not familiar with the Zoom feature, it's really quite slick, but there is a little Q&A option on either the app or if you're on your desktop at the top, if you just kind of hover, you should be able to hit the Q&A, or you can send me a direct message. Because what I want to accomplish today, you guys, is to give you tangible things that we can have you walk away with and really put into action and go, okay, that was worth 30 minutes of my life that I'm never going to get back. So I hope it's valuable in the next 30 minutes together. And also listen to the end because I'm going to be giving away an opportunity to have a free 30-minute consultation with me so I can help assess your individual goals, address any struggles that you might have, any self-limiting beliefs, because I think we all have them. And I just want you to feel successful, okay? I mean, any way I can help somebody feel like they have the opportunity that I do to be successful with my own goals and journey, because everybody's different. I want to give you that today. So please believe in yourself enough to know that I'm not anything more special or have better genetics or whatever. Like, I have to work my ass off to be where I'm at and still feel comfortable in my own skin because I have my own ebbs and flows. And I really hope that I allow you guys to feel that and experience that with me because I'm just a human. You know, I'm a mom. I got 4 kids. So that being said, let's kind of talk about who I am. And a lot of you guys don't know who I am, actually. And maybe you do. So you might be like, okay, I know your story, Taryn. Totally cool. But my name is Taryn Perry. I am a mindset motivator. I am a nutrition nerd. Like, I love talking about nutrition. I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face, you know? But I also am a fitness trainer. I teach boot camps here in Seattle. So if you guys are local, come visit me. I teach at a small boutique gym called Sync Fitness, and it is such a great passion of mine to be able to influence people in a healthier manner. Give them a holistic approach to being healthy, not just, hey, I'm going to teach you how to lose weight in 21 days, and then you'll never know how to do it, later on in life. I want to give you tools to be sustainable with it. I want to give you tools that I'm going to keep this as a lifestyle. Okay. I have dove into so much information over the last 11 years because I've been doing this. Really started working on myself in 2008 after I had my son, who he is now 11. Such a trip. And I'm going to have a teenager, you guys, next month. I'm going to have my first teenager in the house. Pray for me. So if you have any tips, I'm all ears. But my kids, you guys, truly have been the reason why I've wanted to immerse myself into this a little bit more and truly understand the influence that I have on them, but also that I have on other women or moms that are just like me. I was so lost and overwhelmed and almost paralyzed with the amount of information that was out there about dieting, like what plan to follow. And this isn't a dieting talk, not at all, okay? But I was so overwhelmed with what was out there, and I would follow anything that I saw somebody else doing. How many of you guys can relate with that? You see somebody on Instagram posting about keto and they lost 15 pounds in 2 days, and you're like, okay, I got to do keto, right? Or somebody's intermittent fasting and they lost 5 pounds overnight. You're like, oh my God, that's what I got to do. Whatever it is, somebody's juicing and it's made them feel like they could, fly through, from one end of the room to the other. Great, maybe I'll do that. So that's how I was. I really was chasing everything to the point of paralysis, that I didn't do anything. Or I was unhealthy. The mindset was unhealthy because I was chasing this material thing, this vision of what I thought if I lost the weight or if I looked like that or fit in those clothes or had a six pack, then I would automatically, everything in my world would be like dramatically different. And that's not true. It just wasn't, because I'd never addressed the root cause or the why behind why I wanted to accomplish it. And that's what I want to change for you guys today, and how I differentiate myself as a fitness trainer, mindset motivator, and how I run my nutrition practice, because I want to approach it holistically. I want to get to know you, right? Like, Sharon, why are you here? What makes Sharon tick, right? You know, why is she still at the point where she's at? You know, maybe 10 years of maintaining her same weight, or 10 years of the self-limiting beliefs, or 10 years of the up and down yo-yoing, you know, or 10 years and never been able to do a push-up, and that's what your number one goal is, you know? So I individualize every way that I work. And that's why I kind of approach everything from a holistic perspective. So I run a holistic nutrition practice while I serve people, digitally, not digitally, but virtually, I guess, with the platform of, helping them find a routine with their workouts, with a nutrition plan set up for them. And you know what? I even teach people how to build a business based on an influence that they could have. So, but let's dive into things, okay? Let's talk about mindset. Mindset 101, okay? The next slide, you guys, you're going to have some thought-provoking things. But let me just kind of frame this, if you will, on why I wanted to lead in with mindset. Because mindset generally is the one thing that we don't address when we're trying to make change in our life, right? So maybe it's gunning for a new career. Maybe it is starting a new business. Maybe it is building your dream home. Maybe it is losing weight, right? Or signing up for a race. Our mindset can be so controlling and overpowering in like good or a bad way, right? And it's just like, that's how we're wired. And because we are in a society where there's so many different influences, we forget to actually tap into the greater strengths that we have internally to recognize what we need to work on. And the sustainability behind when we do work on that thing, the outcome will be so greater and long-term. But when we forget and dismiss the mindset, then that's when we run into problems. So I really try and focus on the mindset. Like, I want to know who you are and what routines and patterns you have to this day, because going forward, they're going to change. And whether you're on this just to listen and see what I'm all about, or you've heard this for the 15th time from me, like, sometimes we just need a little refresher, right? But I want you to draw the line in the sand and say, you know what, with whatever I'm doing right now isn't working, then I'm drawing the line in the sand. I'm going to do something different. And I'm going to give you some tools that you'll walk away with. I promise. Okay? So hear me out. So our mindset is really strong and really powerful. But how we talk to ourselves and the things that we do in our day can really derail us or point us in a direction that might not be aligned with what our goals are. So I always talk to our routines, right? And if you're a mom or a dad, or you have 2 jobs, you work full time, you wear so many hats in your life, like, things are busy, right? Like, how many times do you say, I can't do that, I'm too busy, or I can't commit to that, I'm too busy? Like, everybody's busy, right? Probably the number one thing that I hear from clients is that, well, I'm so busy, I can't meal plan. I'm so busy, I don't have time to work out. And I'm like, bullshit. You do, because you have social media, right? I mean, that's truth. And I say that with love, okay? Everything I say, I'm a real, like, straight shooter, you guys, but I say it with love and not like all high mighty and I know everything, but it's just what I've learned and what I draw from my clients and my experience in working with them, okay? So you do have time, and we have time to accomplish whatever the hell we want. And what I like to always joke about is, or not joke, but reference, like, look at Beyonce or Taylor Swift, right? Any successful entrepreneur or any successful individual, whatever it is, they make time. We all have the same 24 hours in our day, but what we do with that time is what's going to help us build on our dreams and goals. So I had to get in tune with what that was and change my behaviors in my day if I wanted to work to my goal weight, if I wanted to build a six-figure business, if I wanted to take my kids to wherever. I had to, the simple thing of reverse engineering my day, right? And that's what I teach you guys, and that's what I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight and have you explore too, okay? So let's get you the next slide, because this will give you kind of a little bit of a visual. But your morning mindset, this is really where the framework of success starts, is your morning, right? So let's say you have to leave the house at 7 o'clock to get to work. You have to get the kids ready, up and go. Maybe you take them to childcare, right? So that means you leave the house at 7. If you're getting up at 6 o'clock, you're constantly frazzled to get out the door by 7 o'clock. Am I right? And chances are that might mean that you're not even grabbing a meal as you're leaving, which is fine. Or you're driving through Starbucks on the way to work because you didn't have time to prepare anything, which means you didn't have time in the morning to prepare anything. What happens at lunch? You're going out to eat again, right? Did you give yourself time to work out before you went to work that day? Before you left the house at 7? Probably not. If you got up at 6, you're probably not getting your workout in. But maybe a morning workout's not your thing. Totally fine, right? Just using this as an example, okay? So just kind of food for thought, if you will. So your morning mindset is really the framework that is going to set your success up for the day. So let's just take the workout out of the equation. You guys know I'm crazy. I get up at about 4:35. Sometimes I hit one snooze button, but I actually really try not to. And that's something that I've been working on and something that I teach my clients too. And those that have had success with weight loss have kept it off for over a year. A client that's kept off about 58 pounds, excuse me. Another one that's pushing 40 pounds and kept it off for over 8 months. So these are principles and practices that they have that is consistent. So they're getting up early to give themselves the time to prepare for the day and work on themselves. So I get up at 4:30, so I have time to actually, I use the time that I drink my pre-workout, because it takes like a good 5-10 minutes to kind of get through the body and, get the tingles in my fingers, as I like to call it. That's when I know like I'm ready for my workout. But that's my time. The house is completely quiet. I sit down and I journal. I write down my thoughts and my intentions and what I want to manifest in the day. And this has been a practice that I put into place about a year ago, consistently. Now I've done it before. I've tried all these different journals and I'm like, nothing worked. But they weren't gelling with me, But I set my alarm without fail and will get up. And you guys know, having 4 kids, having any kids, your sleep is not always going to be up to you, because you never know if someone's going to, wake up in the middle of the night and then that throws off your whole sleep cycle, right? So, last night, my youngest made her way into my room at about 4:30, just literally 2 minutes before my alarm went off, which means if I even budged out of bed, she'd be like up, right? So I had to pretend I was still sleeping. I knew she'd go back to sleep, but I could have used that opportunity to go back to sleep with her, but I'm like, I'm getting up. And even if I was getting up, I would tell her, you're getting your butt back into my bed on my pillow, or else you're going back to your room. We've been able to establish that role now, right? But I set my morning priorities for me before the house gets up, because when I don't, because I've tested it many times, when I don't, my whole day's off. When I don't work out before the kids get up, when I don't have my meals mapped out for the week or for the day, my schedule's off and I am one cranky mess. I like routine. Our bodies, we thrive on routine, regardless of what it is. So finding that little pocket of time that is just yours and coveted to you working on your goals and dreams, writing out what you want to accomplish for the day. Why? What would it mean? What is it you want to accomplish? I think manifesting things are so powerful. There's a book that I love. It's called The Attractor Factor. It's by a gentleman named Joe Vitale. It was written years and years ago, and it's just such a great, powerful book. It's basically like the law of attraction meets the power of positive thinking. When you put yourself in that state to truly sit down and manifest and work on your goals and dreams and attract that type of energy in your life, it's amazing how things can turn over. And for your health, right? Maybe whether it's career oriented or relationship oriented or bringing in wealth and abundance in your life, like having that time to really truly reflect on what you want to accomplish instead of just hoping it'll happen. Like, it doesn't work that way. You know, like if I just woke up every day at 6 o'clock and I hope that, you know, when I was working and when I was in weight loss mode, like hoping it would just happen, like, it took effort. I had to find a way. Okay. So just even these little things like setting your alarm 15 to 30 minutes earlier so you get up before anyone else does, even if it's just getting your cup of coffee going and sitting down in a quiet area of your house and meditating. There's no rules on how to meditate, or reading a book, or listening to an audio, or getting up a little bit earlier and getting your workout in, right? It's so powerful and cleansing when you do that for yourself. And I'm a huge proponent of making your bed. There is actual scientific evidence that when you have focus, like when you have structure and less stuff and clutter in your life, and that even accounts for the stuff in your home. You know, like think about it. If your home is in complete disarray, laundry everywhere, dishes in the sink, beds unmade, you know, how would you say your life is a reflection of that? Like, would you say that you're really organized and you're ahead of the game with your goals and you're accomplishing things when there's dishes in the sink, laundry stacked up a mile high, your bed's a mess, you know, you're not organized with such stuff? Like, I want you to think about that, because there's actual scientific evidence when you get up and you make your bed, you take time to put the dishes away, you get your laundry done, you fold it right away and you put it away. I mean, like, I'm the queen of throwing the stuff in the dryer and like putting it on multiple cycles. I'm not saying that, but I can't live in chaos, like when there's a mess in my house, because when I do, then I don't get things accomplished. I recognize that there is a delay in my success for whatever category it might be. It could be stress and strain that I put on my marriage because I'm irritated with the house being a mess. It could be a lull in my business because I haven't done squat to move it forward because my house is in disarray and I'm distracted and I'm stressed out about it. Like, you think about those things. So this is a thoughtful process that you need to be in tune with. So establish your morning routine. It's so important to establish a morning routine. When you have that framework in place and you have something as simple as a morning routine, you're going to start seeing a shift, okay? A shift in how you feel about yourself, how you talk about yourself. So I want to segue into the nutrition component, okay? Like nutrition 101. Here's what the problem is now in our in this day and age, is nutrition's gotten so overcomplicated, right? To the point where, like I talk about, we get that like analysis paralysis. We take in so much information that is being put out on Instagram, on the TV, in magazines, like, you know, books we read, podcasts we listen to, whatever that is, we've overcomplicated it. Do I follow a timed nutrition? Do I intermittent fast? Do I do keto? Do I eliminate dairy? Do I go vegan? Am I a vegetarian? Like, you know, should I have 3 meals a day? Should I have 6 meals a day? Should I, you know, fast for 6 days and only drink water? You know, like, just saying it, I'm like, oh my God, it's a lot. So I want to encourage you guys to get back to basics, right? Being back in tune with yourself and think of a holistic approach to nutrition. And I'm not talking about growing everything out in your backyard. I'm not talking about that, but a holistic thought process that aligns with your mindset and the food that you eat. Because let's face it, think about it. When you eat clean, do you feel more motivated? Do you feel more confident in yourself? Do you feel energized? Do you feel your sleep is improved? Do you just feel happier? You do, right? When you have a consistent pattern of eating well, you have those feelings about yourself and just about life in general. But when we don't, like, we go back to that whole like life of disarray, right? So I try to encourage my clients, like, let's get back to basics. I want you to become healthier and happier in a holistic pattern that's going to be sustainable. So I encourage my clients, I say, listen, I want you to, and I give a workbook to my clients every single month, and it's usually a different theme. So you got a little snapshot of what the mindset piece was. It's actually like a 4-week process that I work on developing a good routine with you on the mindset, because then we layer on the nutrition. So you're kind of getting a little glimpse of how I work with my clients in this holistic manner. And there's only, there's a variety of ways too, but let's reflect to what it means to be healthier and happier. And it starts with your why. Okay. What is your why? Why do you want to get healthier? Why do you need to lose 20 pounds? What would it mean? I want to get to the emotional part. Would it mean something like that you've never been able to accomplish before? And even if you do accomplish it, what would it mean? Would it change your relationships? Would it change your confidence level? Would it mean that you would get a job that you've been wanting? Would it mean that you would be able to run with your kids? Would it mean you wouldn't be out of breath anymore, or you would get off a certain medication that you hate being on? So I want to encourage you guys to actually write out what your why is. Okay? Think about it. And truly get emotional and deep. Not just, I want to be in a size 2. I want to drop 4 pant sizes. Okay, why? What would it mean? What would it mean to you? Okay? Because it's your journey. Now, and then I want you to define what it means to be healthy. Everybody's version of being healthy and healthy eating is different. Okay? And that's what we work on, building layers on top of each other. Because some people's version of healthy eating might be swapping pizza for like portioned lean cuisines. So that's improvement, right? Or ditching Coke, but having iced tea, which, is better because you're not having, the toxic crap that's in Coke. But, what is your version of healthy eating? And define that. Because my version of healthy eating has evolved over the years. It wasn't always like, oh my God, I can't wait to eat roasted vegetables and I can't wait to pile my plate high with a variety of vegetables. I never used to think that way. It was kind of like, okay, I'll throw a couple vegetables in there. But then over time, it was like, wow, I actually really crave them now because I like the way I feel fuller and I don't feel like so full that I'm like uncomfortable. And I recognize that pairing them with certain carbohydrates, starchier carbohydrates, wasn't benefiting me either. And I started to recognize as it evolved that there was timing with some of these foods that I felt served me better and my waistline, which meant my confidence, because I was more confident when I felt better in my clothes. And not necessarily what other people were thinking, but just really like I felt better. I felt confident. Right? And then when you do kind of address all those, then we talk about the fun stuff. Like, all right, now we're going to do a pantry purge. And so that's one thing to go clear everything out of the pantry, because I'm all about willpower. If you don't have willpower, then with a certain food that's in your house, then if you need to get rid of it or send it to your office so it's out of sight, out of mind. And the battle that tends to be the biggest challenge for people is when they have unsupportive family members. So maybe you live with maybe you have a spouse, kids that are picky eaters, or maybe you live in your parents' home or a family member's home, and so you don't necessarily feel like you've got control over the groceries or what's in the house, but you should. And if you don't, then you need to have a sit down with those people that are within under your roof and say, listen, these foods are not making me feel good about myself. These foods are holding me back from my greatest potential, from, being able to insert your why, right? That's where this why comes in. You got to keep going back to it. You've got to remind yourself why you're doing it. And these foods are not helping me. And when you bring this in the house, this makes me feel, fill in the blank. Or when you bring this in the house, I don't have willpower and I can't resist. It's like a drug for me. You need to understand that. That food that you bring in the house is like a drug. And it's okay to recognize that you have a weakness with something, especially if it's like sugar related, because sugar is a drug. It's worse than drugs, but it's so widespread and almost in way too many things that we don't recognize that it's such a drug. Don't get me started on the sugar topic. I feel like I could do a whole workshop on it. But you need to sit down with your spouse, and your kids. You guys, your kids have to understand the priority the priority that they need to make it and understand too. And they're going to learn from you. right? I tell my clients too, I encourage you to sit down with your family members that live in your household and tell them why you're doing this together and that you want them to be a part of it. I give tools to my VIP clients, specific like tools that they can print out and have their kids go through in like just kind of a generic like meal planning thing, right? Like no, not, and be very clear, this isn't teaching kids how to diet. It's teaching them awareness around foods and what they feel energized and fulfilled with, right? And correlating their energy and their sleep and their focus and all that kind of stuff to what they eat, but including them in the process. Hey kids, we're gonna go to the grocery store on Sunday at 12 o'clock. But hey, let's sit down. I want you guys to think of maybe a side dish that you want to contribute to the meal. And then we're going to go to the grocery store. We're going to pick out all the ingredients and then we're going to put it together and you get a day and you get a day. Get them involved. Because if you're not willing to set, kind of clean slate it with them, and maybe that's a little bit easier said than done, but if it's okay for them to eat Cheetos and Oreos, but it's not okay for you because you feel miserable and it's causing your weight gain, why is it healthy for them? Why should we allow those that we love the most and that we are nurturing to grow and to be good humans and healthy humans? Why are we letting them eat it, right? Like there's kind of like a cold hard, like I'm, truth bomb, but it's true. So many clients are like, well, I can't take this out of the house because my husband loves it so much, or my kids would kill me if I got rid of the Cheetos. Hello, should the kids be eating Cheetos anyways? Where's the nutritional value in it? Not that we expect our kids to eat tree nuts and kale, right? They need to have fun. Like, I'll give you an example yesterday. My kids are on spring break. I took my son and his friend swimming and my two younger girls, and there's a vending machine, which, my nemesis, but I brought healthy snacks, and my son said, hey mom, can we have $1 each? I wanna get a bag of chips. First thing, would be like, nope. But I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, well, what are you looking at? What's jumping out at you? Oh, I want the Sun Chips. Okay, I'm down with Sun Chips. Occasionally, okay? Because they're not Cheetos and Doritos. Now, mind you, they are not too far from the Dorito or Cheeto tree, but go with it, okay? Hey, yeah, you know what? I brought a bag of healthy snacks. Go eat those first. And if you're still hungry and you want that snack, then absolutely you can go get that, okay? And then, you want to know what happened? This is how you know, like, my kids are kind of the real deal, or just normal kids. I pull the girls out of the pool because they're hungry, and I go in there, and he got Cheetos. And I was like, what happened? You told me you're getting Sun Chips, which is why I gave you the $1, and you got Cheetos. I don't know. Yeah, you do. So it's a process, you guys. It's not perfection, but you just have to give awareness. And I went back into an education and said, listen, do we have Cheetos in the house? Do I buy them for you to eat? No. Well, why do you think that I would allow you to take my money and go buy them as a snack? So I had to make it a learning experience, and I actually made him go back to the gal at the front desk and say, you know what, I made a mistake. Is it possible to exchange it? And bless her heart, she was kind enough. I don't think she was totally happy about the situation, but she opened it up and replaced it for the Sun Chips. And I made him have a bar that I brought that was low in sugar. It was a high volume of protein for him and his friend. And I had, applesauce. I had, I had rice cakes. I had other things in there that was going to tide him over if, this didn't work out well. So it was a good learning experience for us all, because I'm, just because I work in the nutrition field and I run a business around it doesn't mean that my kids are perfect. They're kids. They're naturally going to be influenced by other kids. Not that his friend was influencing him in a bad way, but I had to learn it. I learned that I still have work to do, and they're going to be work in progress, because we can only influence them when they're in our world, right? But my point is, if it's not healthy for them to eat that kind of crap, why should we be providing it in our house or in their lunches or meals, okay? But then for you, lastly, get accountable. Tell somebody. That's when you sit down and you tell your spouse, or you tell your best friend or your coworker or me. Be accountable to me. That's part of my job. Taryn, I need this in my life. I need you to I know you can't walk around and slap the cupcake out of my hand, but I'm stating that I'm ready to do this and I need to be held accountable. And that's where our working relationship comes into play. That's where I introduce you to my accountability network, where I say, these people hold me accountable too. Just because You guys might invest in me to help you with the tools and give you a game plan. I'm wildly accountable to the process. And that's why I love what I do, because I still can, have things to work on. I'm never going to be perfect. And I'm never going to teach that model to be perfect, because who's going to live 100% on a clean eating regimen? That's just not realistic. You've got to enjoy things. So it's not about restriction, but just identifying what makes you thrive. Okay. So let's get into some of the things that might be helpful to you. If you're like, I hate meal planning. Okay. Here's the deal. Too bad. If you have goals and you know that your nutrition is probably the one thing that continues to get you back flip-flopping, you've got to make time to do it, okay? So reverse engineer your week, okay? So I want you to take a look at your calendar. What activities do you have going on for your entire week, okay? And I'm even thinking about start on a Friday and look at through the weekend and through the next week. What do you have going on? And color code. Get out a little fancy highlighter, or if you're a digital person, there's all the little color features that you can use on your phone with iCal or Google Calendar. You can color code different activities, right? Color code them. What are non-negotiable things that you have coming up? Kids' games, rehearsals, maybe you have a work event, maybe you have a presentation, maybe your kid has a presentation or they have a field trip. What is happening in your week that you need to know is a non-negotiable, because you need to reverse engineer your plan. When are you going to sit down and do your meal planning? So pick a day that is pretty consistent that you can just make a practice of that being your meal plan day. And guess what? It gets its own color, and it is a non-negotiable activity in your life. If you want to be sustainable at this, you guys, I can't emphasize this enough. You don't have a day that you dedicate to meal planning. It's not a whole day, but it's a chunk of your day. I get it, we're busy. So maybe that means on Sunday, you get your butt up a little bit earlier, maybe 30 minutes before the rest of your household does, and write out your food plan for the week. What are you bringing into the home? And then say, hey, honey, I have to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go at 2 o'clock because we don't have any kids' activities. We actually kind of have a lull in the day. I'm going to go to the grocery store. Or if you're like me, Instacart. Love Instacart. I got a coupon for you if you need Instacart. It's amazing. Most shopping grocery retailers have that click and go pick up feature, because going to the grocery store, to me, I overspend every time. I am totally the person who gets sucked into the end caps, even if it's healthy, or just like, I can't remember if we had this, or, oh, I think the kids would really like that, or that looks cool to try. I always love Instacart or any Amazon Prime, whatever you have in your area, because it keeps me on budget. Especially Costco. So schedule this. It's a non-negotiable. Nothing makes its way into that block of time, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to look at the meal plan. And my clients, they get a meal plan every single month with a couple of different varieties of recipes that you get to actually pull and switch around. And the idea behind them is to keep them simple. I am like the queen of 20-minute meals. Now, I get it. I work from home, so I have a little bit more flexibility to kind of plug and play with different meals. But I always make sure that there's protein sources. I always make sure that I have food either in the freezer with vegetables or fresh produce in the fridge that I can have, that I can chop up and roast or throw in a salad or on the stove or whatever. Honestly, that's why my meals never look pretty when I photograph them, because it's generally like a one-pot meal. I love vegetables, so I'm throwing in all sorts of vegetables. And I'll be showing you guys, oh my God, one of my best new finds at Trader Joe's. So I'm all about simplicity, but you also have to look at what you're buying, okay? But reverse engineer a plan, okay? Write it out, and then you get your grocery list and you write down what you're getting and you march yourself to the store or drive. You're probably not gonna walk, but if you can, cool. But have a plan with that grocery list. So you stick to it. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to grocery shop, and then you're going to come home and prep. Shop and prep. Hit the store with a plan, chop and prep for the week. Okay, get out containers. Amazon, I have a link for amazing meal prep containers. Even if you work from home or you don't leave the house much, you're a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you do. Get those little meal plan containers, and I'll share it with you guys. Just send me a message if you want to know which ones I get. They're really affordable, and you can reuse them. They're PBA free, but you just are going to place your meals, you're going to have it out on the counter and you're just going to like chicken, 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 or tuna, chicken, tuna, or hard-boiled egg, chicken, tuna, like whatever variety you have, right? And you're just going to dish out those containers, and you're going to make sure that they are mapped out, they're portionized for you, or a visual, more mindset-related nutrition programming, and you're going to have them on the ready. Or if you do have flexibility, you know, okay, I've got Brussels sprouts, I've got a thing of mushrooms, I've got beets, I've got red pepper to cut up and eat raw for a snack, I've got baby carrots, I've got whatever seasonal produce and that you have is on the ready that will take you maybe 10 minutes to prepare on the saucepan, boom. And if you've got, you know, if you eat meat, great, then you've got the meat that you're gonna have, your protein, and dinners are pretty easy. But set yourself up for success. Having a plan and putting the time into it will be a game changer. And I promise you, once you do it, it gets easier, okay? So here's some of my best tips. Having theme nights, especially if you've got a family, are fun. You can get the kids involved. You know, there's the Taco Tuesday, some Meatless Monday, you know, I don't know what Wednesday could be. You know, just create something fun that is fulfilling and enjoyable and not feeling like you're restricting yourself, because there's such a way to create meals that are enjoyable and traditional, but yet healthy. All right. So having theme nights, but choose the food you enjoy. Okay. So I love Italian food, but the heaviness of Italian foods do not work for my waistline. So I love lasagna, but I make a spaghetti squash lasagna. And I know we're kind of moving out of that season, but you can still make a really good veggie-based lasagna with like zucchini or summer squashes. There's so many really great ways to kind of play around, and I'll go find a recipe and I'll tweak it and I'll make it my own because I like that food and I'm going to find a way to make it healthy. So I still feel like I have the act of that meal, but yet I've healthified it. Okay. And again, get your kids involved. Have them pick a side dish. Have them have a night and get them in the kitchen chopping things up. Maybe don't give them a really sharp knife, but teach them like why you're doing it and why you want to have it as a practice as a family. If you have goals, weight loss goals, weight gain goals, maintenance goals, keep a food diary. Write down what you're eating. Send it to me. And this is actually what I'll talk about in the consultation that I'll be giving away today, I really emphasize having a food tracker. It's what's in my journal that I've created, because writing down what I eat keeps me in line. Even though I've been doing this for 11 years and I know what to eat and what not to eat for my body, I still need to write it down because it's easy to be like, oh, I'll have a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Every little bite adds extra calories to my day. Now, I'm not a calorie in, calorie out type of person, but when you're eating excessively and you're outside of what your body needs to be where in your goal, whether it's maintenance or weight loss or weight gain, then you're setting yourself up for failure if you don't document what those things are. So those are some really simple meal planning tips, okay? Here's a quick snapshot at some meal plan ideas I wanted you guys to have before I kind of sent everybody on their way. I don't know if there has been any questions, but I'll pop up and check in a minute. So breakfast. You guys, here's what I'm going to tell you. Whether you look at this visual as an idea or not, keep it simple. Really simple, okay? The main thing I want you to take away with this kind of snapshot is you need to make sure that your meals are aligned with a macronutrients, or your 3 macronutrients in some regard, okay? And I'm going to talk just generally timing before I let you guys go on those macronutrients, okay? And what I find to be the best for my own practices, but those of my clients that have kept their weight off, okay? So breakfast, obviously a protein. Every meal is going to have protein. Breakfast, or your first meal, let me call it your first meal, because not everybody needs to eat breakfast. And let me say that to give you guys a little bit of ease. Not everybody has to have breakfast at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Some people do because they feel nauseous. Some people have blood sugar issues and they need to eat the first meal of the day within minutes of waking up. Totally fine. You could still get results even eating that first meal, okay? Some people cannot stomach food until 11 o'clock, and that would fall under the kind of the intermittent fasting schedule. But take out that title, and maybe that's just what your body thrives on, okay? So your first meal has got to have protein. Having a starchy or carbohydrate of some sort is best served at that first meal of the day. So that could be, I love Food for Life's 7-grain sprouted English muffin. Yep, I have the whole thing. So I have 2 halves, but that accounts for most of my carbohydrate for the day. But I love to front load it because I've come off a workout. I know that my muscles need that energy and refuel some of the nutrients, and getting that quick uptick in blood sugar from, or by getting a rise in my blood sugar from the carbohydrates serves me well. Okay. And sometimes that'll be, I'll have a smoothie bowl with my English muffin, or I'll have a egg scramble with vegetables and my English muffin. So the vegetables kind of come like as a bonus, extra credit, if you will. But I always have a protein and I always have a carbohydrate. Okay. That should be kind of what your breakfast looks like. Lunch, or your second meal of the day, is still going to have that protein component. That's a foundation of your meal. You're bringing in a little bit more of vegetables. So maybe you have a salad. Maybe you throw a little bit of quinoa on top of your salad, or brown rice, because you still need that starchier carbohydrate to give you a little bit of energy boost to get you through the rest of the day and carry you to your next meal. Okay. And I'm going to explain a little bit why you don't necessarily need that extra starchier carbohydrate. And also knowing that fruit can also be a starchier carbohydrate. We can overdo it in fruit. We really, really can. Most of the time, you're not going to find like some person's getting fat because they're eating too much fruit. You're just not. But you can overdo fruit. Okay, so that's when you start to kind of tweak things a little bit and just say, okay, what works and what doesn't. And when you write it down, you're going to know, you're going to start to see what works and what's not. It's no surprise, you guys, Shakeology is a staple in my day. This is not a class to speak to it or pitch it by any regard, but it is a fulfilling superfood for me, and I have not missed a day in 10 years with it. I will always tell somebody about it as an option, regardless of how I work with you, because it is a meal that is done and thoughtless for me, because I just know it, I know what's in it, and I've got a routine down, and I'm filled up for at least a good 4 hours. It was my breakfast this morning with an English muffin, in fact. Snacks are always optional. Sometimes you need a snack, sometimes you don't. But that's where the prep comes in, because it's easy to go, oh, I'm hungry, and not be prepared. So snacks are optional. Cut up vegetables with hummus, pairing your carbohydrate with a healthy fat of some sort, and maybe a little bit of protein. You know, like having those Laughing Cow cheeses with, some raw peppers or carrots, and maybe I love the Simple Mills almond crackers, right? So just try to sub out some things that are better than others. You know, like don't have Ritz crackers, have the Simple Mills crackers, flaxseed crackers, nut thins. There's, if you need that crunch, then you can usually fulfill that through an alternative cracker or a carrot. It's crunchy, fulfills that whole like crispy need. Celery, obviously. So just being creative, or just being super simple to say, okay, do I need a snack? Great. Okay, raw almonds and maybe a half an apple or a small apple, right? Dinner, this is where I want you guys to pay attention to this part. Dinner is always going to be a protein, your foundation, and then the rest is vegetables, okay? Why not generally having a starchier carb, meaning a grain-like carb at dinner? Because again, it's an energy source. You do not need to have an energy source coming into your body when your body needs to start winding down before bed, right? And maybe not an energy source in the regard that it gives you like, woo, yay, I'm ready to go and party, but your body is working hard to digest that starchier carb because it's heavier, it's denser. You want your body to start to wind down and not be on overdrive trying to metabolize food at night. So having a good filling meal, like, 75% of your meal is vegetables, and then you have 25% or so a serving of protein. Salmon, chicken, lean turkey, you have steak every once in a while, great. But keeping a lean and easily digestible foods at dinner is going to favor you in the morning when you get up and you feel like you rested well and you feel less bloated and your pants fit better. Okay, when I didn't also say that you do need to make sure that as a staple of your day is water. And I have a whole system that I go through in talking about all that. And I feel like I'm going way over the time frame that I committed to you guys. But if you're still hanging on, hear me out. Water is a huge staple. And I guarantee you're not drinking enough. If you're not seeing results on the scale, guaranteed it's because you're not drinking water. You might think you are. You might be like, oh yeah, I drank a whole water bottle, but literally you probably drank till here. then you filled it back up, then you drank to here, then you filled it back up, then you drank here, and then you filled, you know, like you kind of see what I'm saying? You're not really tracking it. So my whole thing, this thing's been through the ringer. I've dropped it so many times. I drink, this is 40 ounces. I'll drink it all the way to the bottom. I will not fill it up until it's absolutely empty. This is my third one, you guys, and it's midway through my day. I drank, yeah, that is 100, almost 120 ounces of water. I pee a lot. Don't be afraid to pee. Nobody thinks it's weird. And I get it if you're like, I'm in a meeting or I'm working and then I can't get up to go to the bathroom. Pace yourself, okay? And what's the end of the, you know, like the end of the day, like if you have to go to the bathroom, you should be able to go to the bathroom. I don't care what your profession is, okay? So water, but this is a good visual. I hope to have you better understand what your meals need to look like, all right? So that's what I have for you guys. I want to end by telling you guys that I am working currently with clients to take them through a 3-day food, plant-based kind of reset, okay? And I want to offer that out to you guys. A lot of us are starting on Monday, and it's a kit, and it's programmed. And if you don't start on Monday, that's fine. I will still work to get you to when you need to be. But I want to serve you in the place that you need to be served. I want to make sure that we address what your challenges are, and we focus on them and emphasize some of the holes that we need to fill. Where are those voids that you're not addressing or you're denying are the problem, and work on getting you past that? Because that's where it gets exciting. That's when you start to go, oh, right? And maybe it's just drinking water. Maybe it's just starting by documenting what you're drinking, okay? What you're putting into your mouth, whether you're eating or drinking sugary stuff. Like if you're not writing it down, sometimes if you write it down, I challenge you guys to try that. Write down everything you're eating if you haven't done that yet, and then look at it, every bite, even if it's a bite off your kid's plate and it's healthy, right? Just write it down. You might go, dang, no wonder I'm not full. I'm not eating enough. You might surprise yourself. Or you might be like, damn, no wonder I keep gaining weight. I'm eating so much. Or maybe you have no idea if you're eating enough or too little. Because a lot of people don't know. They think they do because they follow so-and-so on Instagram that eats this way, so they think they should eat that way too, right? In the phrase of one of my nutrition trainers with this course that I'm in, this lecture I listened to with my IIN, just school that I'm back in for nutrition, one person's food is another person's poison. So I want to repeat that. One person's food is another person's poison. So because I can eat mushrooms and eggs and dairy and whatever, I don't eat a bunch of dairy, but that might be toxic for you. So be mindful and in tune with what you need to eat. Soy and I do not get along. I get the worst stomach cramps. I don't like what soy does to me and makes me feel, so I don't eat it. It's my poison. And I recognized it when I was having soy lattes because I was trying to get off dairy years and years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I have these like excruciating stomach pains. And my husband was like, what are you having differently? I'm like, well, I'm still having my lattes. Well, I'm having soy milk. I'm like, oh my God, it's the soy. It was just like that light bulb. And it was just, I had to actually think about it. So just recognize that just one person's like food might not be suited for you. It could be your poison. All right. So you guys, I am so grateful for your time and the fact that you guys have hung out with me for as long as you have. I really appreciate you guys. I want to make sure that I answer your questions. So because this is kind of a different format, just send them to me in a, you can send me a direct message on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm at Taryn Perry. This has been such a treat. I plan to do these each month, and I will kind of like, you know, change up some of the topics, but you know, there's no rocket science behind this. I'm not going to teach you something you probably don't already know, but maybe just needing a little bit more accountability or direction is going to be beneficial for you. Okay. So I will be giving away a 30-minute consultation to somebody today. All right. I wasn't going to announce it live here on the call, but I will be addressing it through the event page that was set up. And how I'm going to pick the person is through a message that you send me, sharing with me what your why is. I want to know what your why is. I want to know the deep, dark, dirty, emotional why behind why you want to change, make some changes in your life. If you're willing to be emotional and share that with me, then I think that, I'm not saying that you're worthy of my time. That's not what, it's starting to come out really wrong. But that's going to tap something inside of you that you were like, holy crap, that just opened up so much into my awareness and my mindset. So I hope you guys felt like you walked away with something that is giving you some tangible thoughts into what you want to accomplish or what you need to change in order to get to that sustainable or that consistent pattern of seeing results. All right, you guys, you're amazing. I truly thrive off your energy. I thrive off the comments and questions and just energy that you bring into my life. So thank you for being here with me today. I value you so greatly, and I went way over, but I'm really good at that. So with that being said, you guys have an amazing afternoon. I will make sure to post the recording for those who aren't able to attend it live. Just make sure you let me know you watch the replay, and I will wait to hear from you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.